Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, we got some breaking news, and it's big. Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets apparently have come to a conclusion that they want to move forward with one another. No trade necessary, no trade request at all. Everybody's going back home, cool, calm, and collected. Um, this is strange in a couple of ways, but like I said, when the market is like this, you learn a lot. KD has learned so much since he's made this trade request about his own value, about the market, about how difficult it is to move, about what exactly is going to be required for a team to be good enough for him to compete. And I think he's come to the conclusion that most of his options are not actually better than the one that he has, um, based on what is going to be required to move him. And I don't blame them. You look at the Boston situation, they don't really want to move Jaylen Brown. That's kind of sticky. You look at the Toronto situation, they don't want to move Scotty Brown Barnes. That's sticky. You look at the Lakers, they're not making a move like that. They're trying to get Kyrie Irving. You look over at the teams that he had on his list, Miami, they can't make a move because of the Bam Adebayo thing. Ben Simmons, if you wanted to move him, everybody knows you need to move him, so his price tag is too low. It's just a lot of stuff that gets in the way of you being able to effectively move Kevin Durant to a situation that he's happy with while giving the Brooklyn Nets something they can, be comfortable with. I think I think it's one of those situations where you just have to understand that it's probably easier to come back to the drawing board for everybody and just try to figure out what they have. Because even though it's not perfect, nothing is right now. Nothing is. And the reality is collective bargaining negotiations were going to be mucked up to high hell if Kevin Durant held out this season and it got really ugly. It becomes a situation where then you have to ask yourself, if you Kevin, how far do I want to take this and who all needs to hurt so that this can happen? And then when you consider what it was that he really wanted to see happen, he was trying to get Kyrie Irving paid. Well, what's the reality of the situation there? It's kind of hard to do that in this situation when the Nets have the history that they have with Kyrie Irving, and now Kyrie Irving looks like he's found another home in Los Angeles that he's ready to move on to anyway. So it's like holding out there and acting like you have real problems with the front office and real problems with the Nets. Pretending might not be the right way to put it, but making it as if it's worse than it is so that you can get this done. At some point in time, you just got to look at the move that you're making, say, okay, we're past that. Look at the wiggle room you have to move around and say, okay, what am I sacrificing if I do this? And it just ain't worth it. I think he looked at everything on the table and just came to the conclusion that it's probably just cheaper to stay here for a little bit and just play this contract out. It's cheaper for me. It's cheaper for the team. It's cheaper for the league. It's better for the future of the league in terms of the players who are going to have to deal with the collective bargaining conclusions after these negotiations and even after that. So I think he just fell on his sword. I think it would have benefited him a great deal to keep this going if he wanted to truly move, and he could have let everything fall by the wayside and everybody falls apart. You know what I mean? If he does this, basically teams don't get to make moves. The NBA is at a stalemate just in general because of the price tag on everything. So if he does it, it makes it even worse. Now what you probably expect to see is the Donovan Mitchell New York Knicks trade. That's what I expect to happen probably today. Now that we know Kevin Durant is not out, the next thing is for the market to resume as if they know he's not moving. So, okay, now you can see what's up. And certain teams that were going to maybe involve this player or that player can now involve that player in other deals. So if guys were willing, if teams were willing to overpay for anything, you'll see them be able to do that now. So yeah, I think this opens the market up. This opens the market up in my mind, because even though you were also waiting for the price tags to come down on things, again, there's still teams who are willing to overpay. Yeah, it's just about whether or not the third teams that they may want to involve would be willing to make a move because of the presence of Kevin Durant possibly being able to land with them, or them being able to get involved in that deal. With that deal not being involved, they can use those same pieces and put them in the deals that otherwise are on the table. So I don't know what the Lakers are going to do now, because all things considered, you expect Kyrie Irving to start the season with the Nets. If KD's in place, then that means Kyrie's in place. That's what you think. So you probably just go ahead and make another move. But here's the thing. This is what I would tell the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't think the Nets are sold on keeping Kyrie Irving this season just because KD did this. I don't think that at all. I think Kyrie Irving is going to be a Laker. I think Kyrie Irving already has his mind made up he wants to be a Laker. Now, KD coming back to Brooklyn, them having a chance to run with Ben Simmons might have changed his mind. I could very easily see him saying, you know what, I want to stay back east anyway. I'm home. I want to be here. But the one thing that's on the table is the fact that he is not locked up. He's going to be a free agent at the end of this season. So unless KD coming back means that they're going to put a 5-year deal on the table for Kyrie Irving, which at this point I don't know. If I'm reading the tea leaves, logic tells me that KD agreed to this because they agreed to give him Kyrie that 5-year deal. That might actually be what's going on here. So I don't expect that to happen, but if my tea leaves have been reading properly, then that's probably the only thing that would have brought KD back if he wasn't to have the mindset that I expressed in the first 4 minutes of this video. The only other thing would be him saying, you know what, yeah, now I agree because you've done what I told you to do. So if Kyrie Irving signs for a 5-year deal, then the Lakers, of course, make the move to do something else. I think that would be my cue. This is not my cue because I'm not certain that the Nets want Kyrie at all. Just because KD's going back to chill doesn't mean that they are convinced that Kyrie's going to play enough games to make it make sense to have him at that price tag for their team. They can very easily make a couple of moves and maybe have more of a sturdy situation for themselves. Maybe part of bringing KD back is putting him in a position to have a deeper team than maybe what they have right now, which would require them getting rid of Kyrie Irving at $36 million. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of ways to look at this. I don't think the Nets are necessarily have to do anything. I think it probably benefits them from a marketing standpoint to bring Kyrie back. But again, you have to understand, if they have absolutely no intentions at all of re-signing him, then he's going to be traded. They're not going to let him walk. You see what I'm saying? So the Lakers should not make the Indy move because of this. No, because your circumstances are still the same. You're in position to give up 2 picks for Kyrie Irving to the Nets, with Russell Westbrook's contract possibly going to either Utah, San Antonio, or Indy, or one of those teams. Right? That's your position. And if the Lakers are playing smart, they will still wait for that piece. Put it like this. In my opinion, LeBron James is going to wait for Kyrie Irving's availability. Until he sees Kyrie Irving is signed on for multiple years, I think he would like us to keep the 2 picks necessary to acquire Kyrie Irving. I don't believe, in my heart of hearts, he believes he can win a championship with the trades that we can make instead of Kyrie Irving. And I don't necessarily believe that either. I'm going to tell you that right now. I still think we need Kyrie Irving. And so if the possibility of him being traded to us this season is still in place, that's the only thing we should be in position to make happen. Okay? That's it. So I'll be very pissed off if the Lakers trade away anything to the Pacers that we can't otherwise then trade for Kyrie Irving this season. Highly pissed. When I say pissed, livid. That's how angry I would be. I don't care Kyrie saying he's going back to play for the Nets this year. I don't care that KD said he doesn't have a trade demand in place anymore. That does not change our tune at all, Laker fans. At all. Hear me good. That has nothing to do with us. Kyrie can say he's staying with the Nets for the rest of his career. That ain't got nothing to do with who actually makes the decision on that. Who actually makes the decision on that is Joe Tsai. What is Joe Tsai faced with? What's on the table? Kyrie can either be traded right now, traded at the trade deadline, or you can let him walk for nada. And the Nets cannot afford to let Kyrie Irving's $36 million not be recouped for proper value. If that walks, they still have KD on tab for 3 years. They do not want to piss him off at the end of this season if Kyrie Irving walks. They don't want that. They will have the same problem they have right now next summer. They don't want that. So I promise you, Kyrie Irving is not finishing the season of Brooklyn Nets unless they extend him. The question is, are they extending him or not? We just don't know. We just don't know. But until we see it, we hold our 2 picks for dear life. Period. My name is BDL44. Thank you all for watching. Kobe Day, y'all. Happy birthday, Kobe.